It is a beautiful day here in Pidai. Conditions are perfect. The water is flat, and yes, as Hotu did say, our V12s are going out. Aotearoa looking to try and take a medal in this elite championships here today.
As we have the Australians on screen now, just heading out. Aotearoa next to them. In lane 1, we have Wallace and Fortuna. In lane 2, New Caledonia. Lane 3, New Zealand. Aotearoa. Lane 4, Australia. Lane 5, Brazil. Lane 6, Tahiti. And Tahiti will be pushing all they can to take out this first final of the day.
There are only 6 lanes in the elite competitions, and so it is do or die here today. One race, the first race, it is a final, so that's really exciting, Hotu, that we can start off these competitions with a straight final. Aotearoa didn't make it in to the medals in the last one, but this year they are really looking at trying to take this from the Tahitians.
Yeah, David, and I guess just to explain things a little bit to our viewers out there, this is what we call the elite division of the racing here at the IVF World Sprint. This is the second year that it's been happening, and what happens is that every country chooses their best paddlers and they put together a national team. So we have these teams from this team from Wallace and Fortuna, the team from New Caledonia, New Zealand, Australia, Brazil and Tahiti. They've chosen their best 12 paddlers for today. They'll be going out and trying to see how they do. Aotearoa will be trying out because they got disqualified at the last event that was held in the Sunshine Coast in Australia, so they'll be trying their best to make amends for that. But of course, all these teams, I think it's going to be an exciting race, and it's one of those races where if you come fourth in this race, that's the end of your day pretty much.
True story, Hotu. Tahiti clocked 1 minute 55.68, so I suppose in terms of the elite races, that is the first record, because this is the second time that these elite races are happening. Tahiti took it out at the last one. New Caledonia followed with a 157.59, and Wallace and Fortuna after that with a 157.78. So we are expecting a really tight race. That was only 0.1 of a second between second and third, and I'm sure that this race is going to be very much the same for all of them out there.
Well, I'm looking forward to this finish line, David, because we're right in front of it. And it's going to be so close. I have no doubts that we'll have to wait for official results, because these teams are all so closely matched in terms of their ability, the speed, and the way they paddle, that it's going to be a very, very close finish. Unless, of course, someone gets disqualified, like what happened the last time, and that drops it down to 5 crews going for 3 medals.
The only way that they can get disqualified is if they start over the line at the beginning, or they do not stay in their lanes throughout the whole of the entire course. But you'll see here in the pictures that it's just a beautiful day here. The conditions are perfect for racing. The past couple of days we've had the elites and all of our club paddlers out there testing the course and testing the waters, and we did notice that the winds do pick up at certain times and makes the course really choppy. But here, right at the start line, it's perfect flat conditions, so it should make for great racing and really fast times.
Yes, Ed, I think the weather today is such a big difference from yesterday. Yesterday, the conditions when people were out practicing on the course was very windy. There was a big chop coming in. The trade winds were blowing straight in from out of the reef and brought quite a big chop across, and people were surfing their canoes and all of those kinds of things yesterday at training. But today, calm, flat, very little wind, and everyone's lining up to wait for that start flag to send them away on the very first race of the 18th IVF VAA World Sprint Championships here in beautiful sunny Pidai, Tahiti.
As they're making their way up on that start line, you've got the false start line, which is the orange buoys, and that's where all of the paddlers are waiting at the moment. And the waka aren't really moving, so it'll make for a really good stationary start. You see some teams may try and do a little bit of a rolling start, but that in itself has its own risks. But even with the conditions the way it is, you will see a real stationary start for this V12 500 metre final, and that will make for a really good start.
Yeah, I think over the years what's happened is that as the races have developed and grown, there's always been this concern that canoes might have a rolling start at the beginning of a race. So the conditions here are just perfect for all these canoes to sit still. They'll be called up from the false start line where they're sitting now and slowly come up as we see them now, heading towards the start line where they're in the starter's hands. They'll be looking for the flags. I can see a flag on the start boat up already.
So they're moving to the line and they're holding. Oh, lane 3, Aotearoa, is over the start line at the moment. They are just getting themselves ready. You have to hold on that start line. A black flag will go up indicating that someone is over the line, and if they do not go back before the black flag or the green flag starts,
and we're away. The first race for 2018, the 18th IVF World Sprint Championships, and in lane 1 Wallace and Fortuna taking out a great start.
Yes, lane 1 Wallace and Fortuna, lane 2 New Caledonia, lane 3 New Zealand Aotearoa, lane 4 Australia, lane 5 Brazil, lane 6 Tahiti, and they are off to a fantastic start. It looks like Aotearoa is just ahead at this stage before they even hit the first 150 metres, and you can see they are going for it. But out there in lane 6 is Tahiti, and they are pushing everybody at this stage.
The Tahitian crew out there in lane 6 wanting to win this gold medal, but in lane 3 we have the team from Aotearoa. It looks like it's going to be a bit of a fight between the New Zealanders and the Tahitians, gunning down this, coming up to the halfway mark of the race, and Tahiti is out there in lane 6. They're just a little bit ahead of the New Zealanders.
Yes, lane 6, lane 3, and then lane 2. Lane 2 being New Caledonia. They are there at the halfway mark. I think the Aotearoa crew are just starting to kick at the moment so that they can push their waka ahead a little bit, but the Tahitians have a nice pace and have just kept the same pace all the way through. Just nice long strokes, quick returns and quick changeovers.
Yes, I think the Tahitians have built a little more on that lead. It looks like they could be securing that gold medal for the first race of the day, David.
Well, we'll just wait a little bit at this stage, but as they start making their way up to the last 50 odd metres, it is really close between lanes 1, 3 and 6. The Tahitians are out there pushing really hard at the moment. It's going to be neck for neck as they make their way up. 50 metres, 20 metres, 15 metres. The Tahitians are ahead at this stage, and it looks like Tahiti's taken it out. Second Aotearoa, and third in lane 2 New Caledonia.
I think we're pretty certain on lane 2 coming in third place, but I'm going to wait and see for the official results, David. I think the Tahitians may have just had enough of a lead at that halfway mark to hold the New Zealanders out, but there was a bit of a drive by the New Zealanders in that last bit, and that last surge may have got them there, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, absolutely. We will have to wait and see. That was really close to call. You'll see that on the finish line there's a little bit of a curve where we are, but we do have photo finishes and lasers along the lane, so regardless of where the flags are, you will see that the official results will tell us who actually won that race, and it was really, really close between Aotearoa and Tahiti.
Yeah, the Tahitians are wearing that victorious face, and New Zealanders are sitting there looking at each other, wondering if that last karakia came through and they made it across that line first. But at the moment, I would say the Tahitians are looking like they feel a bit more comfortable about that first place spot.
It might have. There we go, Tahiti. First, 1 minute 46.30, 1 minute 46.5 for Aotearoa, and 149.1 for New Caledonia, and that is a fast time, much faster than last year's 155 that saw Tahiti take it out. So congratulations to Tahiti Nui and our second place getters, which was Aotearoa and New Caledonia, who was third.
That was only 0.2 of a second difference. See how close that was. It was a great race. The Tahitians will be happy. The first race of the day goes to the homeland. Goes to the homeland. They'll be so proud of this first gold medal coming to Tahiti. The crowd will be ready to hear that national anthem, and no doubt it will be played many times through this week.
Yes, and we are hoping that Aotearoa's national anthem gets played a few more times this week as well. But I must say, right at the start, from the start, the Tahitians took off and pushed their waka, lifted their waka off the line, and it might have been that pullback that Aotearoa had to do right at the start that may have just got them, but coming to the halfway mark, the Tahitians just picked it up and really pipped their waka forward just a little bit. Our Aotearoa team did really well, but they might have picked it up just a little bit too late at the end or two.
Yeah, I think you're right, David. There seemed to be a bit of power still left in the tank for that last part of the race, but they just ran out of. If they had maybe another 20 metres, it could have been a different story. But it's all over. Game done. Gold medal goes to the Tahitians.
Do we have a new lane draw? Our one says Paramedics. W1. Do we have an updated lane draw?
Can we confirm the next race, please? Well, we have all the New Zealanders standing on the beach there. Can find them easily, all wearing their black shirts. Probably cheering, hoping that the next event, which is double hull women's final for the elite women, could bring a gold medal to them. As of course the Australians, the Brazilians, and the Tahitians again will be wanting to take home a double.
Race number one, that was now race number two. Coming up to that line is the Paramen VL2, which is the W1 or V1 500 metres. It is a straight final. We have three competitors. Lane 1 is Carlson, lane 2 Rayari Teulo, and lane 3 is Marcus Thompson from Aotearoa, New Zealand.
And these para events are the events that are slowly working their way to the point where they will be included in the Paralympics in Tokyo in 2020. So here we have different levels of assessment to put people in their different categories for this kind of racing. Often we'll have people who are amputees, they're blind, or and so sometimes the canoes are set up so that they can paddle most of the time on one side, or else they're set so that they don't capsize as easily as they would at any other time.
And a nice start there from Marcus Thompson from Aotearoa in lane 3. Nice, smooth on that waka, but there in lane 2 there is going to be a competition from Rayari Teulo from Tahiti Nui. This is going to be a bit of a close race between lanes 2 and 3. Lane 1 you can see at the bottom of the picture there, and that's Carlson from Tahiti Nui.
Just for our viewers who may not be familiar with the sport, when someone paddles a V1 such as these, you'll notice that the paddlers switch from side to side. That's how they keep the canoe going in a straight line. They have no other form of steering other than the way that they use their paddle. And you can see here in lane 3 with Marcus Thompson, he's sweeping his paddle through the water to try and straighten his canoe, as is in lane 2 there, the paddler from Tahiti, Rayari Teulo.
And it's really important that you stay in your lanes. Again, if you cross your lane, then you will be disqualified. So all of the paddlers have their lanes and are making sure that they're trying to stay within the lane. And at the halfway mark, by one waka length at this stage, Marcus Thompson from Aotearoa, New Zealand, is ahead, and he's starting to really pick up his rate at this stage in the last 250.
Yes, and these kinds of races, these V1 races, it looks like some people look at it and think, oh, that's pretty easy. But I have to tell you, it's actually quite a hard thing to do. So if you don't know how to keep your canoe going straight, you zigzag all over the place and it slows the canoe down. So you need to try and keep it as straight as you can through the whole distance of that 500 meters. And once you start getting past the 300 or 400 meter mark, then everything starts to hurt.
Yeah, and it's really important that if you're wanting to keep your waka straight, you have your changeovers quite quickly. And you'll see that the changeovers here, even from our Aotearoa paddler Marcus, you'll see that his changeovers are still quite quick, because the quicker you change over, the better your waka will stay. And you can just hear the crowd starting to yell and scream for their paddlers at the moment. And as they start making their way up to the end of this, lane 1 by 1.5 waka lengths, lane 3, Marcus Thompson out there ready to cross the finish line, and he will be our first Aotearoa gold medalist for 2018.
And there he is, crossing the finish line in lane 3, Marcus Thompson from Aotearoa, New Zealand, coming in second place. It looks like our paddler from lane 2, Tahiti, Raiari Teulo. Marcus is a happy man.
And here comes Carlson as he makes his way down the track. Everyone's still cheering him on, wishing him the well and all the best. All he needs to do is get across the line and finish this race, and he will be our bronze medalist for this year.
Maintenant, il faut continuer pour la suite. Oui, voilà, on s'est dit qu'il fallait débloquer le compteur aujourd'hui, là, ce matin, et puis continuer pour la suite, pour dans quelques heures encore, et pour demain, et pour jusqu'à la fin des championnats. Hein. Aita me o me te tohai te mahana, manu ara me mato te mahana te taote, te urumapiti ho, ya. Ne tohan me ohi, not me inan hei no arto mato whaine ne rai atra pupu tauria no propora, ho e mahana, ya. Ne tohan me ohi me, aita me te roto ai, manu ia mo. Maruru, Roland, Maruru, et félicitations encore.
Our teams are just starting to make their way to the false start line, ready for the straight final, the Elite Women V12 500. We have a red flag moving up to the start line. Lane 2, Aotearoa, New Zealand. Lane 3, Australia. Lane 4, Tahiti. And lane 5, Brazil. There are 4 teams, 3 spots for medals.
One team's going to miss out. So we're going to see who wants that medal the most out of all these people. Gold medal, silver medal, bronze medal on the line here today. And we've got the black flag. The New Zealand crew, I think, was just over the start line. Hopefully that backwards momentum won't slow them down too much at the start, but they're away. Bad luck out there in lane 5. The Brazilians were at least 2 seats behind, but the Aotearoa team is rating up.
And it's really important when you're at the start line that you are right on close to there. Lane number 4, I think it is. Tahiti, of course, are out there pushing at the moment, but lane 2 is catching up with that kick. Aotearoa, New Zealand, as they make their way in the start of this V12 500 metre straight final.
Yeah, interesting, David, to see that the Tahitians settled down to their longer stroke while the Aotearoa team still had their rate up high.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how these waka move in this 500, because even through the training days, you see that the Tahitians have done that really long stroke and have pulled through the waka, but Aotearoa has kept that really quick pace up, especially in the women's division.
Yes, and you know, this is the Tahitian home racing spot, so they probably have a few insider ideas and thoughts about how to race the right way on this race course. So they're showing us how to do it at the moment. At that halfway mark, they were probably about a metre or 2 ahead of the New Zealand team. Over here in lane 3, it could be the Australians coming in 3rd place.
Yeah, looks like it's about 2 strokes ahead of Aotearoa at the moment, so Aotearoa's going to have to do a little bit more work to pick it up if they want that gold. Out there in lane 5, we have Brazil who are still in this race, who are pulling their waka. But as they start making their way up, it is a two-horse race for that gold medal. Aotearoa and Tahiti, rivals all the way. And as they make their way up, I think Aotearoa may be just ahead by 1 or 2 strokes. As they start making their way up, the Tahitians have already started picking it up as they get into this last 25 metres. Aotearoa is ahead at this stage. They've just started a kick. Aotearoa in lane 2 are going to take it out, the gold medal for the V12 500 metre straight finals.
Yes, great celebrations there for the New Zealand women. After being a little bit behind at the halfway mark, they came back, and it was at the end was close, but it was still a clear difference between first and second places.
Congratulations to our New Zealand women's team, and also to Tahiti, who put on a brave fight all the way through, and it was probably the last 100 metres where Aotearoa really ramped it up and started pulling through the water and picked that pace up again over and above what they did right at the start.
Yeah, great paddling there by the Aotearoa team. Great paddling by the Tahitians as well. It was touch and go right from the start. The Tahitians took over and dominated to that halfway mark. But as you said, David, maybe 100 metres out, the New Zealand ladies managed to find something in there and claw their way to the front.
And our beach is starting to fill up. This is the fan zone, so to speak. You've got this area down below, and then above on the grass there is another area where everyone is. But these women, we will be seeing more and more of them throughout the week, not only in the elites but in the club championships.
These open women got time to celebrate and go and rest up, because they've still got V6 races coming up, 500 and 1,500 metre races through the week, so they can't just rest on this.
No, they can't. They still have a lot more work to do, but they're able to bag that gold medal. The first V12 gold medal for Aotearoa at this year's championships, and congratulations to them.
As they go away to relax, we're back here on the start line with another straight final, para men, VL4A, which is a division that was put together by the IVF, which isn't aligned to the other categories that we have. This one is for those paddlers who may have a below the knee amputation, or who have have sight challenges. So what we're doing is running a race here that's a straight final, and we have from our list of paddlers in lane 1 from Hawaii, Vic Allen; lane 2, Bruce Campbell from Aotearoa; lane 3, Huiotu Rafael from Tahiti; Wayne Trott from New Zealand in lane 4, Te Morere Michelle Tahiti; Tahi Ben from Tahiti; Jim Tupper from Australia; and Volker Brielle from Germany.
We have a white flag which is calling up all of the paddlers to the false start line, which is the orange line. So just on the flags, you've got a white flag which says to come up to the false start line. Once you see the red flag go up, that indicates that the race is about to begin. So all paddlers need to come up to the start line and come up as close as they can. And we will now throw over to Kiwi Campbell in this final.
And let our fitness and all our hard work from back in New Zealand take its course here today.
Thank you very much, Kiwi. Congratulations. Thank you.
Great to see Kiwi Campbell there. I know it's pretty tough for them because they've been training in 1 degree and 2 degrees and minus degree temperatures. So this is a bit of a mission for them to paddle in this kind of weather, but they did a great job. Back to our start line though, we've got the green flag, and these men are away in the para men VL4A V1 500 straight final.
Fantastic start out there in lane 2 from Bruce Campbell of Aotearoa, New Zealand, and out there in the far lane from Volker Brielle of Germany, lane 8. Really clean start, and the waka is just moving really nicely on that water. These 5 VAA canoes are really well suited for this type of racing on this type of water, and many of our paddlers in Aotearoa have already bought these 5 VAA just so that they can train and make sure that they are at their physical best when they get to these competitions.
And these aerial shots that we have are great because it shows our viewers how a canoe can zigzag itself across the course if you don't stay on track with your steering. We've got lane 5 there from Tahiti, Te Morere Michelle. Lane 1, we have our Hawaiian paddler Vic Allen, and it's quite a great mix of countries that are out here today in this far. They filled all the 8 lanes. It's going to be a great race. I think in lane 5 at the moment we have the representative from Tahiti just pushing himself along there, and he could be in front at the moment.
Te Morere Michelle in lane 5, and also Tahi Ben in lane 6, and also our Aotearoa paddler Bruce Campbell. Those are the 3 at the moment that are vying for gold, silver and bronze.
Yeah, it's good for our viewers to understand as well. The straighter you go, the less distance you paddle, and the quicker you get to that finish